moms and dads, a very warm welcome to another episode of Today's Parent, where we endeavor to connect you with experts and provide you with information to make your parenting journey a bit more easier. I'm your host, Christine Kasina. Have you ever heard of an educational psychologist? In today's episode, we are going to have a conversation with an educational psychologist. His name is Charles Nyaranga, who's going to explain to us the role of an educational psychologist in our lives. Mr. Nyaranga, welcome to Today's Parent.
Thank you.
You know, when you think about psychology, there's so much in the discipline of psychology, so many different careers you would have chosen.
Absolutely.
Marriage psychologist, child psychologist,
clinical
psychologist, but you just went down the list and chose educational psychologist.
Yes.
I can tell you for sure, 1 out of 10 people, if you were to ask them, most of them have never heard of an educational psychologist. If you can enlighten us, what do you do?
Thank you, Christine, and the viewers. I am a lecturer at African Nazarene University, a lecturer of educational psychology. What I do is I train teachers on how they can teach by understanding the learners. As you know, in education, it's not only about the content. You may have the content, but if it cannot get into the learners, you're as good as no teacher.
Right.
So we bridge the gap between understanding the learner, its developmental stages, vis-a-vis the content that they're being trained to go and teach. So that's basically my work.
So let's go into detail, Mr. Nyaranga.
Yes.
What exactly does an educational psychologist do? So you have said you help develop the curriculum as well,
yes,
and then you train teachers.
Yes.
But why is it important? Why is educational psychology important?
Probably would say 3 points. One is educational psychologists are helping learners in diagnosing the learning challenges or learning problems. Secondly, educational psychologists will always get the learners on the right place.
Okay.
Okay, they assess the learners and then they put them on the right place. So they do assessments. These assessments can be done through the psychological tests, which are always being given. They can also be done through the cognitive tests.
Tests.
Yes, I know that what is more common that people get to know is the IQ test.
Yes.
Which is basically, it's a myth. It's not that educational psychologists are only interested in IQ tests, but the cognitive test. They get to know the attention deficiencies in learners.
Right.
The memory. Educational psychologists are also trained in memory training. They're also able to get to know some of the disabilities that the learners have, like autism, ADHD, or all that, so that the parents would know how to handle their children.
Okay.
And also the teachers would also get to identify whether the learners are having specific challenges in their classes.
Right.
Yes.
So you as an educational psychologist, are you then positioned in the Ministry of Education within the school? I know you've mentioned that you're a lecturer.
Yes.
But ordinarily, an educational psychologist, where are you normally? Where is your office?
Interesting, Christine. Educational psychologist is basically in the Department of Education, and that is directly in the Ministry of Education.
Right.
Yes. And we help them a lot also in designing and also organizing some of the learning materials appropriately according to the age group.
Right.
Since we are experts in developmental psychology. So we'll be able to categorize even on the learning contents as per the age.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So as an expert, you've mentioned that, of course, you are an expert.
Yes.
With what you do, and we've seen that, the education system that we have has been changed. What role did you play, or you and colleagues in your field play, with the new education system, and why is it important? That we've moved from what it was before, cramming and reproducing, and what you've called to be now a content-based kind of education system.
Yeah, at the moment, basically, is now the new system or the new curriculum that has come is more of skills-based. That is the competence-based curriculum, where we are now emphasizing on getting the skills out of the learner.
Right.
In relation to the previous 844 system where it was content-based. How much can you cram? How much can you put in paper?
Right, so cram and reproduce.
And produce. We're like a bank, you know. We deposit in the learners, and by the end of the term or the end of the year or the end of 4 years, the KCSE students are expected to have what we banked, and then we withdraw. That's the banking concept.
Very true.
So the new curriculum basically is more important because it is year-based. You cannot take your child to grade 1 if he has not attained the chronological year. I know Magoha is very strict on that. Even if you have 3 months, he has to be at home. Because what has been designed is relevant for a specific age group. Not like before. Your 2 years is already in school with 4 years. So it even gives the teachers very hard time to manage the learners. But in the new curriculum, all has been arranged as per their age. So maturity is also important when it comes to learning.
Okay.
Yes.
So speaking about the old curriculum, now that you are, most likely you and a few individuals, or probably many, were part of the team who came up with the syllabus we used to go through.
Absolutely.
What was the reason for coming up with the Pythagoras theorem? What was it for? I don't know if anybody has used Pythagoras theorem in their lives ever since.
and the grasshopper and the grasshopper parts and filling and all that.
My. How do you guys come up with those things?
I think when learning takes place, a change is always inevitable.
Right.
And things come at its own time. Probably when the previous system, the 844 system came, there was some rationale upon it coming to overtake the previous one. I can now talk much on this one because we have been there when it was established. We have gone through the rationale, and research has been done and all that. So at least we have much that we know about the new system.
Yeah.
So what has now been designed right now is more relevant to the changes that takes place in the community, not only in schools but also in families.
Okay.
And as you realized, parents are more involved in the new education system than ever in any system in Kenya. A parent has a part to play. And before it was you and you alone, you are trained. After that, go look job and survive.
Absolutely.
But right now, you are involved. The parents also has to play part. And I think this is a very well thought curriculum for this country. You know,
Mr. Nyaranda, getting our parents, it will be important at this point in time if we can get our parents who are watching to understand this new system and how we can help the government possibly succeed with this new curriculum. Because you have mentioned that it's more, it's more involving.
Yes.
And parents are more involved.
Yes.
How can we adopt it more, and how can parents get a better understanding of the new system?
There has been cases where opposition has gone into this new curriculum, and it's just because of lack of understanding. Parents feel that they are engaged much while they are looking for finances to feed their families.
And to fund that education.
Yeah, fund that education. And of course, they say that they are paying teachers, so teachers should do their work. I think it's important for us to get to know that any parent would be happy when the child develops well. Any parent would admire a neighbor's child who is morally well, who is responsible. You not wish to have an 18-year-old girl who cannot wash utensils.
Yeah.
And parents who have such kind feel bad.
So home science is back?
Home science is back.
Nice.
Home science is back. And with all this, you realize that parents would really appreciate if they get involved because they are part and parcel of their children's growth. And by the way, it's good for parents also to know the developmental stages that takes place in their children.
Yeah.
What we tell the teachers is also important that we tell the parents.
Okay.
So if the parents get involved in this, they will be happier seeing their children growing from stage to stage, step by step. And I think that's the joy of any responsible parent. I feel so.
You know, everybody wants to see their child succeed, of course.
Yes.
That's of utmost importance. I'm just trying to really understand this new education system. It goes from primary school as well as it touches on the high school as well, yes?
It starts from pre-primary.
So pre-primary, primary changes have happened, high school changes have happened.
Yes.
You know, the one thing I always wonder is, with this new system, or if we want to move forward as a country,
yes,
we have a lot of people who lack jobs. In the new system, do we have things like entrepreneurship incorporated in the system? Okay. So we can have people who are self-reliant, or then not only focusing on results, getting parents to understand that we can also develop the other skills of the child so they can bank on their talent and make money in future.
To surprise you, if I have to tell you, one of the rationale upon which this new curriculum was established was the fact that the industry really had an outcry that they get graduates who cannot perform the tasks they have been trained on. That's one of the rationale. And this one became so loud that the government had to think on a way on how to bring skills or soft skills or hands-on kind of training, which will be very important in the industry, in the economic development, and also help the academia to have a new look at education system. So that's the rationale. So with this kind of cry that the graduates cannot perform the basic tasks, by the way, they said you would rather get or employ a diploma trainee rather than a degree trainee, it became so sarcastic. So due to this new curriculum starts at the preschool.
Preschool.
Yeah, that is pre-primary. That is pre-primary 1 and pre-primary 2. They call it PP1 and PP2.
Okay.
So before a learner gets into primary, they have 2 years in school. Then they go to the formal basic education of grade 1 up to grade 3. So primary and then the first grade, these are the lower education. Then after grade 3, now they go to grade 4. And next year, the new curriculum is now going to jump to grade 4. So we don't have class 4 in January.
Grade 4?
Grade 4. There is no more class, but there will be class 5.
You understand this can be very confusing,
and class 6.
For any old school parent.
Yes, that's why
from the 844 system.
That's why we move around in schools to speak to parents. Like the last month of October, almost every week I was in schools to speak to parents, to disseminate this. You know, we understand it better. Yeah, we understand it better. So when the school call parents, we disseminate. We tell them in the simplest language as teachers.
Absolutely.
Which they can understand. But about the content, maybe we can talk about it later.
Okay.
But even the content is very appropriate.
All right, so let's take a short break and then we'll continue our conversation when we come back after this.
Thank you.
In today's conversation, we have educational psychologist Charles Nyaranga helping us understand what's the role of an educational psychologist. We are going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this. We are back from the break. Welcome back to today's episode of Today's Parent, where we are hosting educational psychologist Mr. Charles Nyaranga. We are back with more questions, and I know a lot of you watching at home have a lot of questions. I will try and ask them as much as possible. Charles.
Yes.
Before we went on the break, we were at class 4 grade?
No, grade 4.
Grade 4?
In January.
Grade 4 in January.
No more class 4.
So there's no more class 4?
No more class 4.
There's no more class anything?
No, there will be class 5 in January. So just in a nutshell, this is the system that is going progressively.
I'm starting to challenge my own IQ. This is very different.
It's going progressively. So 2021, we are going to have grade 5. 2022, we are going to have grade 6. So it's going progressively. Not like 844 came, pop.
Yeah.
There was no more old system. It came as a whole. But this one has been designed that it goes progressively and it wipes out the 844.
To get parents to understand the new education system, what's the role of an educational psychologist?
Good question. I think parents have a key part to play in this new education system. And first, what I would want to say is that the parents have to prepare their children psychologically.
Prepare the children psychologically.
And so probably I'll talk about the basic education psychology, which almost everybody should know. Mm-hmm. For example, if you have a child whom probably you plan to take to school in January, you as a parent is your role to do what is called smooth transition. Your child, you're supposed to probably take the child or go for a trip, leave the child alone, so that the child can start earning independence. Take the child at an auntie place and leave the child there for a day. Can the child stay a day without
by
you?
themselves.
Yes. This one is going to prepare the child to get into PP1 without any stress. You know, we have parents whose kids do not leave probably the gate, the fence of the gates. Some do not even take them to church to start getting used to other children. When you take such kind of a child in school, mm-hmm. the child will hate school from day one.
Why?
From day one.
Because?
Because you have not prepared. You have not done your part as a parent. Mm. So there is a topic in child development called smooth transition, mm-hmm. which is the role of the parent. You have to start preparing the child, potty training, the basic hygiene, mm-hmm. so that the teacher can do a little part that they are doing in school, because they cannot do everything. So this is the role of the parent, and the parents should know this.
You know what we need to then understand is what is the role of the parent in a child's education beyond providing school fees and books.
Yes.
Because you then get parents even who come and complain to the teacher that my child is being given too much homework, for example. Mm-hmm. With your new system, I should say with the new system, with the new system.
With our new system.
With our new system.
Yes.
The one thing that shocked a lot of parents is that we have to do the homework. Some of the homework we need to do together with the child. That we are building a wind vane together,
yes.
a rain gauge together.
Yes, a kite.
Yes, and then at 5 o'clock I need to look for a printer because we need to print something and build.
Yes.
How do you get parents to understand what's their role, the fundamental role when it comes to education?
The parents are doing this not for the sake of helping the teachers, but they're doing this for the sake of helping their own children whom they have brought into this world. Just to give you an example, I think somewhere in September I had to go to the bush and cut trees so that we could do a kite in the new system. And I looked for my old newspapers, which we always give to Mama Boga, you know, butcher yes. and all that. And we made a very nice kite. And I was like, I missed my old primary days.
Yeah.
And as an uncle, I was very glad to do this with the young kid. So parents, they have to realize that when children do these things with them, the children start to build confidence in themselves.
Right.
They build self-esteem. They get motivated that, oh, if my mom or my dad would have a hand in this, what now if the teacher tells the child to do? Definitely the child will do.
Absolutely.
Because you have cases where some children only believe their parents
are the ones to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you do this, then the child goes to school, the teacher also gets a way on molding this learner better. Mm. You shall have participated in the learning process of the child.
Right.
Yes.
So speaking about, a smooth transition, Mr. Nyaranga, what do you think is the importance of having a kind of culture at home that we embrace reading? I don't know if you agree with me that we need to get back to the space or even just develop that reading culture that I think is so very important.
Okay. Yeah, I said that if you want to hide very important information to a Kenyan, put it in a book.
We don't read.
Oh, put it in a book. They will never get
read?
it. Yes. It's a culture that has been there for a while. And to bring it back, I think probably in the new CBC, we are going to get it back. I have this confidence, one, because the way the system or the curriculum has been designed is making the parents also to read some things.
Right.
They have to read for them to participate in something which has not been there.
Mm-hmm.
That means a parent will have to read. Even if it's once per week, you have to read for you to participate in the homework of your child.
Yeah.
The teachers have also been trained not to do the parent's role. So we are going to a system where you as a parent will not go to a teacher and say that, why is my child lagging behind? The teacher will tell you, no, that was your part.
Wow, and hold you accountable.
And hold you accountable. Okay? The way us as parents, we have been holding teachers accountable. We go and we carry placards that you are not, you are not giving my child what he's supposed to get.
And value for my money.
And value for my money. So the parents are going to be forced to read for you to participate in your child's learning.
That is very deep.
Yes.
Way back when you were younger,
Yes.
what's the role that, that books played in your life?
I think I am who I am because of the books that were there. I remember I would always get to the library even without being told. I remember the Christmas gifts that we would always look for is my dad bringing books. And that was something that was so valued and so important to us.
Books, not toys.
Not toys.
That's different.
But we never had toys in the village. What were the toys?
No, you used to come up with toys.
We would we'd go to pick mud from the river and make some toys. Yes, but giving a book was a big thing then.
Wow.
Yes, you know, we would have one book cut into two. Yes, that kind of lifestyle, and it was so lovely. So I think books played a big role. It gave us information, and I think we can never forget. You can still remember Pythagoras' theorem till today, courtesy of the books.
You know? And you know books are very important also in building character, so I do agree with you.
That's true.
I agree
That's
with you.
true.
For a parent who's watching right now, thinking to themselves, I don't need Mr. Nyaranga. You are needed by the government more than me as a parent. So if you could just demystify it for us as we wind up today's show. What role do you play in a parent's life?
I think I meet parents a lot. The parents who meet me on a consultancy basis to help them understand the learning disabilities.
Wow.
And learning difficulties. Learning disabilities.
And learning difficulties.
And learning difficulties.
In what way?
And most of the time I have one-on-one with the learners to do assessment and get to know whether is this a learning disability or it is a learning difficulty. This one will help the parent to get to know where they place their children. So the question of, can educational psychologists help a parent to take a child to a particular school? Capital yes, because you shall have known what this child needs, what can they do to reach their full potential, and you'll give a detailed report to this parent, and then you advise this parent that take your child to a school where in a class there are only less than 15 kids. Take your child to a school where in a class there are 30 kids. Okay? Take your child to a school where you can get one-on-one teacher. This is the role of an educational psychologist to a parent. And we meet them a lot, and we advise them accordingly through assessment. Reading difficulties, we realize that there are children who in the process of their learning, they have reading difficulties, probably because of the environment,
Yeah.
probably because of the environment at home and environment in school. Reading disabilities are the kind of challenges that the children are born up with. They are born up with, and parents might not know. We can talk of autism, which come in different forms. It's very hard for a parent to get to know that this is a sign. So unless they come to a psychologist, they would not know.
Okay.
They might think, oh, he will catch up. Let him just go. He will catch up. You know, the traditional way of like, he will just catch up.
Yeah.
While it is very, very important that it get diagnosed early. People have always thought that maybe these are things that can be diagnosed medically. Through research, even MRI cannot tell that your child is having autism. So we help also the medical practitioners by giving them the report from home and reports from schools to come and advise accordingly.
Okay.
So education psychologists are very important professionals in the society.
Totally understood.
Yes.
Today I have a new appreciation of an educational psychologist.
Yes.
And for the many parents who are watching, I'm sure for them as well, this has been a learning moment.
I believe so. I believe so.
So for the viewers at home who want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
Okay, for the viewers, I am a lecturer at African Nazarene University, and that's where I'm found at the Department of Education. I can be found even through email, LinkedIn, or through telephone, the media platform. Just Google Charles Nyaranga, you'll find me there. But also through Christine. You can approach her and she'll give you my contact.
There you go.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I hope, just like me, you have a better understanding of what an educational psychologist does. This has been insightful for me, and I do hope it's been insightful for you as well. If you have any other questions for Mr. Nyaranga related to an educational psychologist, please send us those questions and we'll find a way to invite him back. And in regards to the new education system, send us all your questions via the SMS number on your screen, and we'll find a way to have another episode and invite him in so he can break it down for us. If you want his contacts, let us know. We will connect you with him. I have been your host, Christine Kasina. This has been today's Parent. We have been here in studio at Little Cribs, the home of fun, exciting, durable, and affordable kids furniture. If you're looking for educational tips, head on to www.supermamas.co.ke. We thank you so much for your time. Do have a wonderful day. Goodbye.